Hello everyone and welcome to my Ultimate Beginner's Guide series to video editing in Adobe Premiere Pro. If you want to learn how to use Adobe Premiere Pro as a completely beginner in 2024, then this series is for you. I know how overwhelming it could be to learn a new video editing software. I hope this video and series as a whole will help you get started with video editing in Premiere Pro. And the series is made up of 5 episodes. My name is Joel and let's get right into it. When you open Premiere Pro, this is the layout that you're going to see. We are going to start by creating a new project. You can either click on New Project here or you go to File, New, then Project. Or simply use the keyboard shortcut Command N. You're going to give the project a name and choose a location. Let's call this Beginner's Guide. You can choose the location where you're going to save the project and click Create. In Premiere Pro, this is the view you're going to see, made up of layouts and sections, and we are going to go through all of this in this tutorial. This is the project manager and I love to position it right here, which is easy for me to locate. The first thing you're going to do is to add a new sequence, and there are so many ways in which we can do this. The first way is to click on the new item, then you locate the sequence, or you simply right click, go to new item, and you'll find all of the items that you can add here. Another way is to go to File, New, then you choose Sequence. And for the sequence, it comes with layout presets, and if this is not selected, you can go under digital SLR, then 1080p, that's for HD resolutions, and choose this. Move under settings, and under the settings, this is where we are going to set the frames per second. I love working with 30 frames per second. For the resolution, this is where you're going to set it, either 4K, HD resolution, and so on. And this is a full HD resolution, 1920 by 1080. Give the sequence a name if that's something you want, and okay. Now we can start adding stuff under the project manager. Let's start by adding some folders. So I can call this footage and create another one and call this sound. You can use these folders to stay organized, to know where everything is found in your project. Double clicking on this will open the folder, and let's import a footage to our project. You can simply do this by double clicking, then it's going to open a folder where I'm going to choose the footage, and I'll be working with these 2 clips here, and I'll click on import. To add the clips to our sequence, you're going to double click to display it in the source monitor, and we are going to select just a particular area. So I'm going to play around and see, let's say somewhere around here, press I, that's for the in point, then go somewhere around here, press O, that's for the out point, and I can click to drag video only and drop. And same thing to add the second clip. For this clip, it has both audio and video, so this is very useful when you want just the video clip. Now let's import our sound and add it to the timeline. So I'm going to go to the sound folder that I created, double click, then locate the sound and double click to import it, and drag and drop it, as easy as that. And to use the audio level of the sound, I will select it. Under the effect controls, make sure that levels is unchecked, then we set this to, let's say, -20. This is going to reduce the sound, and if you increase it to the positive value, that's going to increase it, negative value to reduce the sound. But I'm going to delete this auto layer because we don't need it. Let's talk about the entire layout and sections of Premiere Pro. So this is the source panel, which you can preview the clip you want to import and also cut out the section you want to import to be specific. Then under the effects controls, let me click on the clip. Under the effects controls, it contains all of the clip's properties that you can change. So if I open up the motion, right, I can increase the scale or reduce it. Then we have the position to move the video clip, and we have the rotation and a lot more. And any effect that you add, you can control it here. And we also have the text panel. If you have a text in your sequence, you can control it here. Next, we have the playback area. This previews the work that you have edited, and we can zoom in. So let's set this to about 200, and we can move this either upward using the vertical scroll bar or the horizontal scroll bar to move around the clip, but by default it's set to fit. Then we have the playback resolution, which if set to 1/4, it reduces the quality that is being rendered in. That's if your computer is not powerful enough. But if your computer is powerful enough, you can set this to full resolution. But while editing your videos, it's preferable that you set it to about half or 1/4. This makes your workflow to be easy, and it does not affect the final product. Now we have some panels here like the effects, the essential graphics, and so on. Below that we have the sequence, which I've already talked about, which is the main area that you're going to use while editing your video. This is where you add your video clips, your sound effects, your graphics, and everything that you want to edit. It's very useful and you'll spend most of your time in the sequence panel. Next to that, we have the toolbox. And for the toolbox, it just comes with all of the necessary tools, which I'm going to get to it in a second. Finally, we have the program manager, which contains all of the Fruitly clips that you're working with, your folders, and everything that you can add to your sequence. Now, let's talk about the essential tools in Premiere Pro. So, starting with this, we have the selection tool, which is used to select the various clips in Premiere Pro or the graphics, sound, and everything in your sequence or your timeline. And the keyboard shortcut is V. Talking about keyboard shortcuts, you can click on Premiere Pro, then keyboard shortcuts. And this is something I'm going to go through later on in the series, which is used to cut the clips. So you can just cut the clip, then use the selection tool to delete. Let me undo that. The easiest way to cut your clips is using keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are very useful and you should master your keyboard shortcuts. So if a position I play here, let's say somewhere around here, and I want to cut this section right here, I'm going to press W and everything to the right will be cut out. Same thing if I position my play here and I press Q, everything to the left will be cut out. Next, we have the pen tool, and the pen tool is used to create random shapes on your timeline. Next, we have the rectangle tool. You can use it to create rectangular shapes, and if you click and hold on the rectangle tool, you're going to see the ellipse tool and the polygon tool. We should also have the hand tool, which is used to move around your preview monitor. So if I set this to about, let's say 100, I can use the hand tool to move around these. And the keyboard shortcut is Edge. Last but not the least, we have the text tool, which you can use to input text, and I'm going to get into this in a second. So I'm going to delete this, then set this back to fit. Let's talk about the speed of your clips in Premiere Pro. So right clicking and going down to speed and duration, you're going to control the speed of your clips. So if I set this to 50, this is going to reduce the speed of the clip. And if I click on reverse, it's going to reverse the speed of your clip. Same thing if you set this to 200. That's going to increase the speed of this clip times 2. Moving forward, let's talk about effects in Premiere Pro. So under the effects panel, you're going to find all of the effects that you need to work with. You can also change your workspace to effects. This is going to give you a preset of all of the layouts that you need to work with your effects. But I love working with all panels. And if in all panels you can't find the effects panel, what you need to do is go to Window. You'll find all of the panels in Premiere and you can click to add all of them. Let me add a basic effect. That's the basic 3D. So I'm going to drag and drop on the clip, or you can simply double click to add it to the clip, and make sure that the clip is selected before you double click. Then under the effect controls, as I earlier said, here I'm going to find the basic 3D, which I'm going to use this to either flip the clip like this, or you can tilt it around. So this is just to show you the effects in Premiere Pro, which I can delete this. We also have some transitions here. Search transitions. Under the video transitions, you're going to see a lot of options here which you can use. Let me grab a random one here, like this. Let me just use this and see how it looks like. So I'm going to drag and drop it between the two clips that I'm working with. Alright, so that's just the basic transition, and you can see that's very slow. That's because the effect is like somehow heavy, and that's why this is showing red. So I can position my playhead here and press I to set my in point, then O to set my out point. That's to select just this particular area, and when I hit on enter, this is going to render just this section, so it won't be slowed to playback. And when you're done, you can right click on this and go to clear in and out points to remove these. And when I preview this, you're going to see the transition. In the future episodes of this series, I'm going to show you how you can create your own transitions and how you can add and use custom transitions. But for now, I'm going to select these and delete. These are just default transitions that comes with Premiere Pro. There are some common effects that I use daily when editing in Premiere Pro, which is the transform effect. So I'm going to select this clip again, double click to add the transform effect. Now under the effect controls, you're going to find the transform effect. And with the transform effect, you're going to find stuff like the position, the scale, and a lot more, rotation, opacity. So with the position, I can position this downward, and with the scale, I can increase this or decrease it. The difference between this transform effect and this motion effect up here is that I can set some keyframes here, Then up here, I can move this, or I can move this however I want, and it won't affect the effect or the keyframes. And I'm going to get into this in a second. When I'm dealing with text, I'll show you how to add keyframes and how to position it and stuff like that. So for now, I'm going to delete this transform effect because we don't need that. Next, let's talk about using text in Premiere Pro. So the first thing you need to do is to select the text tool, then click here, and I'm going to add a custom text. While working with text and graphics, you can choose to change your layout to captions and graphics. Since I love working with the all panels, I'm just going to locate the essential graphics, and if you can't find the essential graphics panel, you can go under the window, then you choose it right here. Under the essential graphics, I'm going to select the text, and we can customize the text however we want. I can center align the text, position it at the dead center by clicking on this, which will horizontally center the text and vertically center the text. Or if I don't like the position, I can bring this up to, let's say, around, let's say here. Yeah, you can select the fonts that you love, and you can change the size of the text. You can also add in the color, so you can change the color here, add a stroke and change the color. So make sure that you check the box before you can select the stroke. And you can also add a shadow. So with this shadow here, I've set it to 100 and change the color to black. I can select all of the text and change this to be all caps by clicking on these, which everything will be capitalized, and also increase the spacing between the letters. Let's say set this to about 200. This is just for sample sake, but that's something you can do. And also increase the spacing between, that's the height between the two texts. So I can set this to either 0 or set this to negative, let's say 30, to make them to be closed up. Let's use this text to create a text review, and to do that, I'm going to go to the effects panel, add the transform effect to the layer. I'm going to move under the effect controls, which I'm going to find the transform effect, set the first keyframe for the position. While holding the shift key, I'm going to press the right arrow key, which will move 5 frames ahead, and I'm going to do it 3 times. That's 30 frames ahead. Set the second keyframe, and back to the first keyframe, I'm going to move these below. The keyframes are used to set specific values at a particular time. Like here, I've set the positions value to this, and when I move ahead, the value is going to change. So I'll select these 2 keyframes, right click, go to temporal interpolation and set this to Bezier. This will make the animation to be more realistic. I'm going to take this further by opening this up, zoom in a little bit so it's more visible, select this keyframe, then bring the handle like so, just to spice up the animation. Now, I want the text to be revealed in such a way that it was behind this area. It's coming out from this area. So I'm going to use masking. Still under the effect controls, I'm going to locate opacity. When I click on this pen tool, it's going to create a mask. So I'm going to position my playhead here, and I'm going to create a mask like so, and make sure that the text layer is still selected. Let me zoom in, let's say about 50% or even more. Then make sure that I've selected the area. You're going to see the text right here, and the entire text is now visible. So it's an easy fix. All you need to do is just to click on this endpoint here and just drag it, like say around here, so that everything will be visible. When I play this, you're going to see the text being revealed from behind the mountain. Let's say we are done editing everything. We want to spice it up with some coloring. We are going to use an adjustment layer for this. And to add an adjustment layer, same thing like the sequence. So I'm just going to click on new item, then adjustment layer. Allow everything to fit with the sequence that I've created, and okay. Drag it and drop on top of all of the clips. Selecting the adjustment layer, I'm just going to locate the Lumetri color panel, which is this. Again, if you can't find it, go under the window and you're going to find the Lumetri color, which you click on it. Under the Lumetri color panel, we have the basic correction, which is used to color correct the footage, but we are not going to do this in this video. I'm going to do it later on in the series. Then we also have the creative option here. And speaking of color grading, we are going to use LUTs. Clicking on look, we can change this to anything. This is just a random test. We can reduce the intensity of the LUT to make it to be more cool. Like I earlier said, this is just to get you started with Premiere Pro. Everything you need to know to start editing your videos in Premiere Pro, which is pretty easy. And I think I've gone through all of the necessary things that you need to know and understand to edit your videos. I'll go through the advanced features in the next episodes of the series. Now, let's talk about exporting our clip. So to export our clip, I'm going to bring the playhead here, press I to set the in point, and at the end of the clip, press O to set the out point. Press Command M, that's on the Mac, or Control M on Windows. That will open up the export window. You can give the video name, choose the location and the preset. And for the preset, by default, it's set to high quality 1080p HD resolution. And for the format, H.264 is what you need to choose. Or if you want to export an audio file, you can choose MP3. But for this, I'm going to allow it at H.264. And with this section, you're going to allow the range to source in and out. That's the section that we selected. And this is all of the detailed information of the video. Below that, we have the estimated file size, which is set to 34 megabytes. But if you want to reduce this, you can go under the video, click on more, scroll down until we find this target bit rate, which if you set this to 6, this is going to drastically reduce the file size of your video clip. You can click on export and the video is going to be exported to the destination that you choose. Next episode, we are going to dive deep in adding text and graphics in Premiere Pro. Everything you need to know about graphics and text in Premiere Pro, and also creating animations using graphics and text. Also, I have a video editing community made up of like-minded editors that are there to share resources with one another. I'll leave a link to the WhatsApp group down in the description below, which you can join. And feel free to ask any question so far as it's related to video editing and content creation as a whole. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, keep editing.